Which one to cut? The red, the black, the yellow one? Welcome, Mazzy here. I hope you're having a splendid day. Today we will finally be installing a dash cam into the ID3. As you can see, we have two different choices. We have the Next Base 522 GW, or if it's GW 522, and we also have the Blackvue DR900S2 channel. So we have a forward facing camera and a rearward facing camera, as you can see. And this setup I had in my 2018 Mustang GT, and there I was running the Power Magic Pro, as you can see. So with the help of this, you can connect it directly to the fuse box, and then you have different settings there which can cut off the power. So this is for the parking mode, so the camera continues recording, or it will record if you have an accident while the car is parked. And with this you can regulate how much of voltage that can be depleted before the system shuts down, so you don't run out of your 12-volt battery then. But this time around we won't be using this part, more or less. We can set it aside so we don't have to worry about fuses and piggybacking, etc., as you can see. But that is an option if you want to go that route with a camera setting that has a parking functionality. But with the system I will go for now, I will use the same cameras and so on, but we have a battery pack. I can't remember exactly the name of this one. I'll link it down below. So this is the older version. They have a newer version of a battery pack which is thinner, and you can stack them, etc. So what we will be doing is to install the forward facing camera, rearward facing camera, and also the battery then. So that is what we will be doing in today's video. So this is specifically for the ID3, but again then it's not that much more different compared if you are doing it in any other car. But today we will do it on the ID3, and in coming videos we will be doing this setup on the MX-5. So I have the rearward facing module for the Next Base, so it plugs directly into this one, or we have a wired rearward facing camera as well. But that is for a different video, so that is what we'll be doing. But before we continue today's video, if you do like the content on the channel, do remember to subscribe to see videos like this, or car modifications in general, track days, car detailing, and so on. The hell? What's going on? Yeah. Sorry for that. So if you did like today's video, give it a big thumbs up. But with that said, let's get on with the video. So what we essentially want to do with a camera install like this is to have a nice and safe and clean cable management. As you can see, it's a bunch of wiring that needs to go in to have this working as expected. If we don't care about cable management, we could just run everything all over the interior and it will be finished in 5 minutes, but that's not something we will do. So what we will be doing is to position the camera somewhere around this area here, and then we will run the cables in the roof lining and then come to the A-pillar. In the A-pillar we need to be careful. No matter which modern car you have, it will be an airbag here, most likely somewhere along here, and we cannot cross that airbag with the wires, so we have to work our way around and go behind the airbag, so in case, God forbid, the airbag deploys, the cables are not obstructing anything. So most likely we'll see, hopefully we don't have to remove this trim piece here, but let's see. And then I will route the cables down into the trim pieces along the floor here, all the way to the back. And also then, of course, coming in here back at the passenger side and run it, and hopefully we can come up here somewhere and then get the cables running through here, because here we have the wires going to the backlights, etc., whatever we might have back here, and we will try to route the cables through here, come up here, and then mount the rearward facing camera here somewhere. And also back here we will have that battery pack, and I will mount it somewhere underside of this lid here, and we have a 12-volt socket which we can connect the battery to, so it will charge while we are driving the car. So that is what we will be doing more or less in today's video then, but I'll start by showing you what trim pieces I will at least remove to get this in place. Some might continue the wiring on the inside here all the way across to the back. But again, then up here we also have airbags which we need to take into consideration, and I don't want to mess with that, so we'll run the wires by the floor. So let's dismantle the interior. So what I will start with is to remove this trim piece here. This is to be able to remove this piece here, and then we will see how we will attack the trim pieces on the A-pillar, and also it will help us to remove this piece right here that goes down if we want to. So this one is pretty simple to remove. We will need prying tools such as these plastic tools, and I don't know if Blackvue still delivers these in the package, so this was included in the kit that I got, and it is a really good tool to have as well. And this one you can simply put in right here, and you just bend and this trim piece comes off. And you need to be a little bit careful because you have the airbag lock here, and it has cables then going to it, as you can see. But we can simply just put this aside, right? So don't disconnect this unless you have disconnected your 12-volt battery, otherwise it will have different type of errors potentially, and you need to go to the workshop, to the shop to get it cleared. So that is that. Next is this trim piece right here. This one has a clip going in from this direction inwards, and then it has a sort of a hook down here. So we will try to first unclip it on the top here, and then pull it upwards to release it from the clip that we have down there. And what you can also do is to try to remove the weather sealing, as you can see I'm doing here. Then maybe we can just get our fingers in there and pull it out like that, and then you can just pull it upwards, and hopefully you can see. So this is the clip that was sitting on top here, and then we had this hook then sitting down here towards this trim piece on the bottom side. Then next is to remove this trim piece, but in order to be able to do so we need to loosen this trim piece a bit. I don't think we need to completely remove it, let's see, hopefully not. So we can come down here and easily route the cables. Once we have the cables down here, we can route them just by tucking them in beneath this trim piece. So we won't be needing to remove these at all. But what is important, or what is needed most likely, is just to remove this piece. If you find it difficult, we'll try to fish the cables down here in some way. But first I think we need to unclip this trim piece by the floor, and then we can access to remove this one. And to remove this one we need to unclip it here first, and then pull it inwards towards the rear of the car. Like so. And also, as you can see, there are only cables going here, so no airbags, etc. So in my opinion it is safer to run the cables by the floor than on top. But what we will be doing next now is to find a way to route the cables from where the front facing camera will be. So we will have two cables running, one for the power for the front facing camera, and also the cable that will go to the rearward facing camera that connects also to the front facing camera. And we will try to route them and see how we can get our way down here with the cables in the safe way. I hope I can show you what it looks like underneath the roof liner and the plastic piece that comes on the A-pillar. And if we just lift here just ever so slightly, you can see there is the end of this trim piece. We can just take that one and pull it downwards and it will pop out. And also, as you can see, we have the roof liner going here. We can just bend that downwards ever so slightly. I hope you can see in there we have the airbag, and we don't want the cable to go on top of it over here. We want the cable to be on the inside of the airbag, hence why I want to remove the trim piece on the A-pillar. We could potentially fish the cables around and behind the airbag here, but I don't know if I want to go that route. So we'll see how we can get the cables to be behind the airbag, which is on this side more or less, but somewhere we need to cross this. So next I will want to remove this trim piece if I can. So we have one clip sitting somewhere here and one down here, and both of these are metallic clips. and they might break, they might not break, but I think the recommendation is to replace them either way. So I will order a new set of these clips once I'm done here. So what we essentially need to do is try to bend this piece here so that these two clips releases, and then we will pull the trim piece inwards towards the rear of the car. What we also need to be careful with is that we have an airbag here, so we don't damage the airbag while doing so. So I'll try to remove this without talking, because I think this might be a little bit tricky to remove, to be honest. And also we need to be careful, we have a speaker here on this model, so we don't break the cables or any of the connectors, etc., while trying to remove the trim piece here. Woo! Bloody hell! Those are sitting really tight. So finally it took quite some effort and force to get the trim piece off, and nothing seems to be damaged, fortunately. And I don't know if you can see it, so this is the airbag itself, and this we need to be very careful with. And also, as you can see, here is the metal clip, and we'll try to pull this out. I think I might need some pliers in order to do so, and once we have that removed, we will transfer it over to the trim piece so it's sitting correctly on top here. So as you can see now, we have more access, and what I want to do is to remove this triangular piece we have around the window here, in order for me to route the cable down in here behind this trim piece and down. So in order to do so, we first need to, of course, remove the trim piece we did right now, and then remove this squared piece here. Once we have done so, I think it is quite simple to remove this trim piece here, and then we can route the cables down towards the floor of the car then. Oh, there you go. And now I think we can quite simply remove this trim piece. Now I'll see if I can remove the trim pieces around here so we can route the cables neatly. We could potentially tuck them in behind the plastic here, but the nicest is to see if we can remove these plastic pieces here, and I think they're also just clipped in. Or was it one piece potentially? Let's see. No, they're sitting together. No, they're not sitting together, I mean. This should be sufficient. We don't need to do more than this. So I have now the cable nicely tucked in behind this trim piece around the rear view mirror. I actually did remove this trim piece and this piece here. It's simple, you just pull it down. If you pull too hard, you will release the rear view mirror as well, so take note of that. And we routed the cables in the same manner where the cables to the radar and the rain sensor, etc. goes. And I have tucked the cable in behind the roof line here. I hope this focuses. And then we went behind the airbag here, so this goes behind the airbag. And then I have these small cable clips, as you can see. They are like this, so you put the cable through here, and we have a piece of 3M adhesive tape on the other side, and that attaches to the chassis of the car, and I have two of those here. And then I have routed the cable down here behind here, and then we will work our way backwards now. And then once we have everything set up and tested, we can put all the trim pieces back. So I ran into some issues. I was fitting the cable that goes from the forward facing camera then to the rear camera, going from atop here, going by the floor. and going back here, and then I was trying to get it to come up here, and then route it through here into these channels and then up here. But it is simply not enough cable to do so, so I have to rethink this. And what I will be doing is to go on a top across here, which I didn't want to do because we have an airbag that goes across here. So what we need to do in order to safely get that wire through here, or cable through here, is to remove this trim piece here. And by doing so, we just pull, or I will just pull on the bottom here on both sides, and we have two clips sitting here. So this will release, and then we have two tabs that goes up towards the roof, so to speak. And we will just pull this down, and we will have more access to get the cables in the roof liner going across to the back here. So I'll just peel the rubber sealing off a bit and take both sides here and just pull like that. And now I pull this downwards, and this should release like so. I hope this comes through. So the cable is now going on the back side of the airbag. So as you can see, we have the airbag there, the white one, and the cable is now going behind it here in the roofing. And you just peel this down, and you can just tuck the cable in. And as you can see, hopefully the cable comes out here, and in there, the white thing you see in there is the airbag. It continues all the way back there, but we have a cable here. I don't know if this comes through. We have a cable there, and this power cable to the rear facing camera is going on top of that cable. And also, as you can see, I did remove this panel a bit as well, not fully. We have some metal clips holding this in place. You can see there's one back here, there's one on top here, there's one in the middle here, and there are some other on top here. Well, we don't need to fully remove this. Maybe you can do this without removing it at all, but I did do so in order for me to make it more simple, in order to be able to route the cable in here. So as you can see, we have these metal clips all over the place, and you just more or less pull this outwards and it should release. But as you can see, this piece here sits behind this bigger plastic piece here. You can slightly push this piece outwards, so you have some more play here. So what we need to do is route the cable for the forward facing camera, as we will have the battery back here somewhere. And what I will be doing is to simply route that cable in behind these trim piece and underneath the seat here, and more or less just tuck it in, so we come into this storage space down here. I'll show you how I'll do that. I have now routed the power cable for the forward facing camera and just tucked it in under this trim piece here, and I followed the trim piece up here, and then I have tucked the cable under the seat here, under this piece itself. And then I routed the cable to this extra storage space that we have back here, and I also did route it under this hinge, so we don't have any obstruction of the cable while we are folding the seat, etc. So what I will be doing next is to assemble the battery, or secure it to this carpet piece here. And then we have the cable for the forward facing camera from the battery, and then we have the cable going to the 12-volt socket, and I will try to find a neat solution for this cable. So what is left to do is to secure the camera's front and rear, and also then starting to reassemble everything so it doesn't look like World War III in here. Once that is done, we'll wrap the video up and we'll take it on from there. Hello! Everything seems to be working. It's up and running and everything is back in place. We have the forward facing camera installed. We have the trim pieces put back in place. nothing did break and nothing is poking out, so that is all good. And then let me show you back here how I did solve the solution for powering the battery. As you may have seen, then we have the 12-volt socket right there. I just routed the cable through this loop, and I just put a piece of Velcro to the cable and attached it to the carpet of the car, or the lining here. And behind this piece here then we have the battery, and I'll show you what it looks like. And it came out super nice. As you can see, it is a clean installation, and when we pop the seat back up, nothing is to be seen with regards to cables. And for these panels back here, these are attached with a bunch of clips, then metal clips. You just pull this down and they will release, and the same goes for this panel piece right here. And we need to then, of course, as I showed you earlier, we had the cable coming here, and what I used was one of these tools to route cables through grommets such as this. I went from the inside of the car to the deck lid or trunk lid because I found that to be easier. So I routed it up, and then I attached the other end of it back to it, and then I pulled it down and then attached the wire and pulled everything back up again. And as you can see, it came out really nice. And these parts, then you just click them back into place, and the same goes for everything else. You just do everything in reverse order and you should be good to go. If you do have any questions at all with regards to this installation, the Volkswagen ID3, etc., just let me know in the comment sections below, and I will try to answer them the best I can. If you found today's video informational and helpful, please do remember to give it a big thumbs up. And also, if you do like the content of the channel, do remember to subscribe. And with that said, I'll be seeing you on the next one.